All right, so you've done it. Your first few AI projects are a huge success. They're actually working, people are excited, but what happens when you try to go from, say, 5 projects to 50 or even 500? Well, that's usually when the chaos begins. So let's talk about how you can scale up your AI work without losing the very quality that made it a success to begin with.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's the thing that keeps leaders up at night. The amazing AI tool that everyone loves today could become your company's next big public screw-up tomorrow. See, when you scale, you're not just scaling the cool stuff, you're scaling the risk. The real trick is figuring out how to grow fast without basically gambling with your reputation.
And that leads us right into the chaos of scaling. This is that moment where all the initial excitement starts to curdle into, well, frustration. And why is that? Because going from a cool pilot project to a full-blown company-wide strategy, that's not just doing more of the same thing. Oh no, it is a totally different beast. And here's what that chaos actually looks like. You've got your marketing team over here, they're all in on ChatGPT. But engineering, they swear by Claude. One product team has this super strict human review process, while another just kinda lets the AI do its thing. What you end up with is a mess. You get inconsistent results, teams stuck in their own bubbles making the same mistakes over and over, and quality just slowly goes down the drain. It's a perfect recipe for failure.
So, how in the world do you tame this chaos? Your gut reaction might be to just slam on the brakes, right? Pile on the rules, add a bunch of red tape. But what if I told you the real answer is the complete opposite? This brings us to a really cool idea called the quality paradox, and it's going to make us rethink everything we thought we knew about control and speed.
What's so great about this slide is how it just flips the whole script. The old way of thinking, right, is that governance is just a brake. It's this bureaucratic nightmare designed to stop bad things from happening. But man, does it slow you down. The new way of thinking? It sees governance as guardrails on a highway. It actually lets you go faster because it creates clarity and gives everyone the confidence to hit the gas. And for a real-world example, look no further than Toyota. They are an absolute powerhouse of speed and efficiency, not in spite of their strict standards, but because of them. When every single person knows the rules and follows the process, they can move incredibly fast. No one's reinventing the wheel on the factory floor. That's exactly the kind of setup we want for AI. Okay, so how do we actually build this? How do we get our own version of that Toyota system for AI? Well, it really boils down to 3 core pillars of governance. If you get these 3 things right, you are well on your way to scaling without the headaches. So here they are, high level. First, you need crystal clear standards. Second, you need some oversight, but, and this is key, it has to be lightweight. It's there to help, not to hinder. And third, you gotta have a way to measure quality so you can keep getting better. So let's dive into each one of these. Pillar 1 is all about giving your teams a clear map to follow. Instead of everyone wasting weeks debating which AI tool to use, you just provide a pre-approved list. You define what ready to go actually means with a simple checklist. You create super clear rules about how to handle data. This isn't about adding bureaucracy, it's about removing all that friction and analysis paralysis that just grinds teams to a halt. All right, on to our second pillar, oversight. And I know what you're thinking, oh, bottleneck. But this is so important. When you do this right, it is the exact opposite of a bottleneck. You create a small center of excellence, just a few people. And think of them as expert guides, not as gatekeepers. Their job is to help teams, to share what works, to be an innovation hub, not a compliance police force. And pillar 3 is where we make quality something you can actually see and touch. Because, let's be honest, you can't improve what you don't measure. This means tracking a few key things. First, output quality. Are the error rates going up? Second, adoption. Is anybody even using this thing? Third, business impact. Are we saving the time and money we thought we would? And finally, risk incidents. Are we catching the close calls before they turn into full-blown disasters? This turns quality from some vague idea into a dashboard you can actually use to make decisions. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do all this without accidentally building a bureaucratic monster that just slows everything down? That is the million-dollar question. The answer is a really smart, risk-based approach. Because look, not every AI project carries the same weight. Check out this matrix. If you're building a high-risk, customer-facing tool that deals with financial data, yeah, that absolutely needs a formal review from your center of excellence before it goes live. But what if it's just a low-risk internal script for one team? Let them run with it. This is how you focus your attention where it really truly matters and just get out of the way everywhere else.
And here's the magic number you should be aiming for. If you set this up right, about 80 to 85% of all your AI projects should just fly through with minimal friction. You're essentially creating a super fast express lane for the vast majority of your innovation while saving that deep, careful scrutiny for the handful of projects that really need it.
So let's put it all together. Let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to walk through a case study for a pretty high-risk project and see how this clever idea called defense in depth lets you innovate safely. So our example is a super common but really high-stakes one, an AI chatbot for customer service. This is a classic high-risk project, right? It's facing your customers directly. Any mistake it makes can damage trust in a heartbeat. So instead of trying to build one perfect bot that never ever fails, which is impossible by the way, you build layers of safety. First, you limit the kinds of questions it's even allowed to answer. Second, if the AI's confidence score dips below, say, 80%, boom, it automatically sends the chat to a real person. Third, you're watching it every single day, seeing what kinds of questions are getting escalated. And fourth, you have a big red button, a kill switch. If error rates spike, you can shut the whole thing off instantly. See? No single layer has to be perfect because the other layers have its back.
And what's the result of this layered defense in depth approach? Well, the AI ends up handling a whopping 60% of all customer questions perfectly. This frees up your human agents to focus on the really tricky, high-value problems. So you get faster answers for most people and better, more expert support for the ones who really need it. It's a massive win-win, and you did it safely.
So what's the big takeaway here? Scaling AI isn't about choosing between going fast and maintaining quality. It's about building the right systems, the standards, the lightweight oversight, the measurement that actually lets you have both. And that brings us to the final, really important question you should be asking yourself. Is your organization ready to stop just being an AI adopter and start becoming a true AI integrator?